My name is Tony Wilson and I've been a storyteller since 1999 with over 1,800 successful and, for me, incredibly enjoyable visits to schools. In 2013 I won a coveted BASE award, that's the British Awards for Storytelling Excellence, and I combined my teaching, musical and writing experience to enhance children and teaching professionals' understanding and confidence in knowing exactly what a story is and what a story needs. I am incredibly aware of the effects of the recent budget changes and what they impose, and I've devised ways of using my skills to provide an extendable service that not only includes my presentation on the day, which can act as CPD for the staff, the MP3 recordings I download on the day for reinforcement work after I've left the school, but a series of audio and digital video recordings of the children's work that can demonstrate the powerful art of storytelling, the use of tone and voice and different degrees of editing, different drama levels, and all of this is to enhance and really honour the children's work. I've included some examples here.
One, two, three. All the girl could see around her were the dark and silvery stars and the earth and the rocky seaside underneath her. She was travelling, she was moving faster than she had ever done. And she looked out of the window and saw the earth get smaller and smaller. She was a bad girl. She'd been sent by her parents because they had had enough to go and travel around the universe, to go from planet to see what she could find. This girl was tall. This girl was a liar. Now, here on board of this rusty spaceship, she did not like it, but you could hear that the engines weren't working as well. Year 3-4 Viking story, starting with when the bright winter's moon was high in the sky and the strong man was making a boat. He loved the feel of that brilliant oak wood beneath his hands. It seemed to glitter and gleam golden in the darkness of the night. But here, in amongst all of the rough mountains that were wide and above him, he was thinking of how he was going to travel to fight. He was a Viking. There was no way that he would stay in this place when he had the chance to build a boat. He had money in his pockets. He made sure that his hair was long and clean, but he would share his time, his money, and his life with anyone. Full Viking story, starting with why. There was no doubt in this man's mind that he was going to travel, not to see what he could see, what the gods might show him, but to fight. And so he was standing there trying to make a boat that was covered in gold. He had learned a lot of things down by the side of the wide and broken rough mountains. He had learned a lot, and he loved the way that the oak felt brilliant beneath his hands. He was going to make this boat so that he could travel and he would fight. Now, he had many things. He had swords that were made out of steel, brooches that were made out of gold, and he was going to teach those barbarians who still fought with nothing more than stone axes of theirs.
heard of Hansel and Gretel, right? But the phony one, the one you know, was cooked up years and years ago. Hansel and Gretel were actually selfish, horrid brats, not like the kind and caring kids you think you know about. Once upon a time, in a normal town, there were two children called Hansel and Gretel. They had as fast as lightning, Hercules ran so he could get to Crete before Spiderface could do any more damage. It was a long, tiring trip because he had to cross half the country and swim the rest of the way to Crete. Hopefully, this mighty beast wouldn't stop Hercules on this quest. Long ago, far, far away, at the edge of Nottingham, a young girl with the name of Jenny was practicing her sword skills. She was courageous, and her short black hair shone in the sunlight. Suddenly, she stopped as she heard the sound of the noisy townspeople in the distance. They were creating some kind of a commotion. She could smell the delicious river fish. It must be grilled fish day, she thought. Yum. As quick as a flash, Jenny put her sword away and dashed to the village. If I mentioned Jack of the Beanstalk, I bet you would think of Jack being a hero. Well, that's completely wrong. I'm going to tell you the real story. Jim the Giant was not who you think he was. Jack made it all up about him being a man-eating monster. Jim was a kind but clumsy giant. On the outside he had red rosy cheeks, as bright as a ruby, and yellow fiery hair. He was actually petrified of going out of the front door. Once, before Jesus was born, up in the thick white cloud. In the reign of King Richard, many centuries ago, there lived a dark and mysterious man who was constantly seen just wandering around the damp and rowdy market. Each day, he would simply smell the fresh meat, vegetables and newly baked grain bread in the air. All around him, different people chatted and shouted loudly across the market square. Yet this evil-looking man, who wore a ragged tunic and ripped sandals, just wandered slowly around. Sometime later, the blonde-haired man was hidden under a stall which was damp and rusty. He was an amazing stood up and loved hunting. His heart was pounding, and then his blood ran cold. There was a shadowy figure standing right in front of him. Then he realised what it was. The one thing he hated. Those creepy, face-painted clowns. Ah! Ben shouted at the top of his lungs. The clown looked down at the terrified boy. Thud! Thud! The lights burst. Ben couldn't move. It was pitch black. Ben screamed and screamed, but this contraption was too small. Help! He whispered for the last time. Was this the end?